My next patron question is from Lowell, who want to know my thoughts on a specific type of media illiteracy. I've noticed lately a lot of people watch movies like Star Wars and The Matrix, movies about fighting authoritarianism, and support authoritarianism in real life. They watch superhero movies like The Dark Knight, Spider-Man, Superman, etc., stories about superheroes using their powers to help those less fortunate than them, and only focusing on how cool their powers are and thinking that they need to have more action. Every now and then, I see memes of people looking at Homelander and Omni-Man, characters with the same powers and super strength as Superman, and thinking this is what Superman should be. People watch Star Wars and idolize characters like Darth Vader, or shows like Breaking Bad and idolize Walter White, thinking they're these power fantasies, but don't realize he's a tragic figure who lost everything. What do you think is the reason why so many people miss the point of the stories they claim to be so passionate about? Why does media literacy seem so rampant, especially online? People often have specific reactions to movies, and occasionally they'll steer away from the filmmaker's intentions. While I know there exists the concept of the death of the author, where the viewer or reader interprets a theme that the creator did not intend, there are definitely cases where they can be way off base. Lowell mentioned examples of villainous characters who some members of the audience might choose to look up to, even when the point is that we're not supposed to. Michael Douglas is infamously mentioned meeting stockbrokers who said that they got into the field because of his character Gordon Gekko in Wall Street, even though Gekko is the villain of the movie and not someone the audience is meant to cheer for. But Douglas played him with such a charisma that some viewers seem to miss the film's message that Gekko and his philosophies are not inspirational. Martin Scorsese has particularly dealt with viewers who miss the point that the lead characters in some of his movies are meant to be unlikable. He was accused of glamorizing the mafia in Goodfellas, which is personally not what I took from that movie. Goodfellas depicts the gangsters as a violent bunch with very few morals and who the law eventually catches up to. We also see how Henry Hill's drug dealings eventually make him paranoid and even more unpleasant than usual. Hill gets mesmerized by the gangster lifestyle early on, but eventually all the problems associated with that life pile up on him. While it was about stockbrokers, not gangsters, The Wolf of Wall Street similarly showed the rise and fall of someone who becomes attracted to a certain lifestyle and then it comes crashing down on him. There were people who found all the debauchery and mayhem to be attractive qualities and wanted to be like Jordan Belfort, but he is absolutely not a good person and someone to aspire to. The film depicts that not only for the way he commits fraud, but how he treats his family, and all the drug parties and other lavish spending eventually lead to his downfall. I feel like even Scorsese got bothered by certain people looking up to Henry Hill and Jordan Belfort, because The Irishman basically shook the audience for 3.5 hours and told them, no, these end up being sad, lonely men, and there's nothing appealing about what they do. You also have cases of people projecting their views onto work and thinking the person who made them holds the same viewpoints. A famous example of this is the Bruce Springsteen song Born in the USA. There are people who see it as a heavily nationalist, pro-America song because of the melody and a few of the lyrics. However, actually listening to the lyrics makes it obvious it is heavily critical of American policy, both national and foreign. I thought an interesting case came up in discourse over The Brutalist. There is a specific character in the movie who some viewers accused of projecting their own personal and political views onto the buildings created by the lead protagonist. All the while, they themselves projected their own personal and political views onto this character and the film's supposed themes, with the director Brady Corbet staying largely silent on this particular matter and whether people were right to interpret it this way. What can be especially frustrating is when people are media illiterate over work that is not the least bit subtle about what it's saying. A movie I saw people do this a baffling amount with was Jojo Rabbit. There were honestly those who accused it of being pro-Nazi, which made me wonder if I saw a different cut than they did, because I thought it was very clearly about the way dangerous ideologies and propaganda can poison young minds. Throughout the film, Jojo's imaginary version of Hitler goes from wacky to a lot more angry and closer to the real Hitler as Jojo learns more about how deranged and wrong the Nazi ideology is. His final scene with imaginary Hitler especially drives the movie's stance home. So I have no idea how even professional reviewers saw the movie as sympathetic to the Nazis. The truth is, a lot of people will see what they want to see in a movie or song or book. If there's an heroic figure, they feel they will have the same viewpoints of their own even when they don't. We all come to art with different ideologies and life experiences, and that informs how we view them. And someone either won't understand what the text is saying, or they'll twist it to fit their own views. That's how you get people who look up to obvious villains like Tyler Durden or Gordon Gekko, and those who think a political commentary is talking about someone else's ideology even when it isn't. Thank you for your question, Lowell.